This all started when I decided to go visit my hometown about a week ago or so. Everyone told me that I shouldn't go, that there's nothing for me at my hometown, and that I should just not waste the money or the time. I didn't want to hear any of it. Nostalgia was calling, and I wanted to see how my hometown had been since the last time I was there around 9 years ago. I figured I would ask some of my friends if they wanted to go on a road trip. Unfortunately, all of them declined. They had something more important to do, like work or study, or they all gave me the same excuse. Said the same thing pretty much. Stay in town, that there's no need to leave. One night I got off work around 2 in the morning and something told me to just go. Drive as far as I could, and so I did. My roommate, a high school friend, texted me around 3 asking where I was and if I was coming back home. I told him that I'd be back. I was just hanging out at the bar after hours, that's all. A few hours go by and I'm about a quarter of the way to my hometown. I received texts from several of my friends. It's 5:30 in the morning. These guys are never up at this hour. I open all of my messages and they're all asking where I'm going and what's my location. Nobody knew I was going out of town and I didn't tell anyone. This was all random as far as I knew. I dismissed all the messages and keep going towards my hometown. I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe they were watching me or something. It was really starting to creep me out. So I blasted the radio all the way up so as not to think about it. I stopped at a Shit's to fill up my tank and grab something to eat real quick. While I was in the bathroom, I get a phone call. It was my roommate, and I'm sure he's wondering if I made it back home last night. I picked up the call. Yo, what's up? I said, to which he replies, not much, just woke up for work. I noticed you never came home last night. You okay, dude? I got a weird vibe from the call, like he wasn't the only one listening in. Something just told me not to tell him where I was headed, and so I lied. Yeah, I'm alright. Spent the night at Jamie's house after the bar last night. It's all good. There was a bit of silence till he replies with, look man, I don't know where you're going, but you need to come back home. Shit's not funny. I was kind of shocked for a second. My mind was racing with thoughts. I don't know if it was the paranoia, but I felt like there was some conspiracy shit going on. Once I get back to my senses, I hang up the phone. I'm back in my car. It's around 7 in the morning and I'm about halfway there when out of nowhere my car's tire just popped. A sheriff posted nearby the highway pulled up and asked if I needed help. I told him I was fine and that I could handle it myself. He asked, you in a rush to get somewhere? I said to him, not really, so yeah, don't worry about it. I got a spare in the back. He goes back to his car and he gets on his radio. He then comes back to my car and says, hey, I seen from your plate you're kind of ways out. Brings you over here. I then tell him, it's kind of inappropriate to ask, did I do anything wrong? He looks taken aback and replies with, no, nothing wrong, I'm just curious is all. But now that you said all that, you do seem kind of suspect. While he was talking, I was replacing the tire and I told him that he can run me through the system. I've done nothing wrong and I don't need to tell him anything. He goes back to his car, gets up his radio and drives off. After that I drove pretty good 50 something miles till my phone started getting bombarded with texts. I stopped on the side of the highway to look at them. And literally every text is from someone I know asking me to come back home. There were people sending me texts that I hadn't even talked to in years, so then I turned off my phone and ignored it all. Something was telling me to go to my hometown and nothing, I mean nothing, was gonna stop me. 11 in the morning, I'm finally there. I park my car around downtown and start walking around. Everything seems just like normal, just how I had left it all those years back. I remember that my old elementary school was a few blocks away, and that around this time of the day is when I used to have recess. So I went for a walk down memory lane and found myself on the sidewalk next to the soccer field I used to play at back in the day. I look over at all the kids, reminiscing and envying their youth all at the same time. Then I freeze completely. I can't stop looking at him, at me. There was eye contact for about 2 to 3 seconds, and then he looks away, like as if I wasn't supposed to have seen him. I'm not crazy, I've never had any medical problems, and yet I swear on everything, I just saw myself from the 5th grade. He went and ran to one of the teachers, and he then pointed at me. She took him inside, and then another teacher came up to me. She says, "Look, sir, you need to go. You're on school property." I look next to her, and all the kids are playing as if I wasn't even there. Like nothing was going on, and you know, kids, noisy bunch. I tell the teacher and I don't mean any harm, and she then threatens to call the police. The other teacher comes back outside and tells me that the one who's talking to me, she tells her it's being taken care of, and both of them walk away. Confused as to what just happened, I go across the street and down the block as I'm about to leave the block. A car pulls up behind me. It's my roommate. He says, "Let's go home." I asked him to explain what I just saw, and he says, "I don't know what you're talking about." I tell him, "I'm not going home. How did you even find me?" He got quiet, and he wasn't looking at it. I ran off. He got in his car and drove after me, but this is my hometown, and I know all the cuts. Alleyways, dips, I know it all. I hopped several fences, took a few dirt trails till it was out of sight, then realized where I was, and it was the old hideout spot I used to go to after school with my friends. It's still there, just how we had left everything. It's been a few hours and no sign of my roommate. I've made myself comfortable in my old hideout as I lied on the old couch, doing nothing but thinking about the old days. Suddenly I hear a few voices walking towards the hideout. I go through the back and hide to see who's coming by, dreading the thought that my roommate maybe found some backup to go out and look for me or something. But instead, come by 3 kids. They all seem familiar. In fact, it couldn't have been. It had to have been my imagination, but at the same time, it was so real. I saw myself with 2 of my old elementary school friends. They can't see me or nothing. It feels weird, not just that I'm lurking on some kids, but the fact that one of them is me. It's me from the 5th grade. I know it. The younger me walks into the hideout and notices that someone's been in there. He then looks back over at my direction, and right there, he noticed me. It's felt like forever. I kept thinking to myself, "Move, run, move," but I couldn't. I was stuck. He then broke eye contact with me and pretended I wasn't there. Next thing I know, I felt something metal hit the back of my head and I passed out. I woke up in the back seat of my car on the highway, my roommate driving. I take a peek and see the signs, and it looks like we're heading down south. I then pick up the phone. It was dead, so it wouldn't turn on. The trip back home seemed like a blur. It's been 3 days. Last thing I remember from the day was waking up in my bed. I wasn't sure if any of it actually happened, so I went to my car to check the mileage. It had about 800 something more miles, so yeah, my car definitely went somewhere. That trip did happen. Although I haven't seen my roommate since, and I seem to have lost my phone.